Dear students, Assalamu alaikum. This is Mateen Awasi. Welcome to my channel Easy Learning. Today we are going to learn about software requirements engineering. This is our first lecture about software requirement engineering.
The reference books for software requirement engineering are Software Requirements, 3rd edition by Carl Rieger, Requirements Engineering, 3rd edition by Hulk and Jackson, and Software Engineering, 10th edition by Ion Somerville.
Okay, what are the requirements? Something that is required, something wanted or needed. There is a huge difference between needed or wanted. Need, something you would have to have, and wanted, something you would like to have. The software requirements are a complete description of what the software system will do without describing how it will do. It is represented by the software requirements. Software requirements are complete specifications of the desired external behavior of the system to be built. Software requirements may be abstract statement of services, detailed mathematical functions, part of a bid and contract, the contract itself, and part of the technical document which describes a product. Requirements are basically a condition or capability that must be met or possessed by a system to satisfy a contract, standard, specification, or other formally imposed document. Source of requirements are stakeholders, existing documents, and existing systems, and fourth is application domain. Who are the stakeholders? Anyone who is directly or indirectly affected by the system or the product are the stakeholders. Documents are essential part for the requirement gathering. We can study the existing system to learn about system which we are going to build, and application domain is a better source of software requirements. What is the goal for software development? The goal of software development is to develop quality software on time and on budget that meets the customers or stakeholders' real needs. A software is good if it meets stakeholders' expectations. It is correct, reliable, maintainable, and user-friendly. The total cost it incurs over all the phases of its life cycle is minimal and within the budget. Okay, let's discuss the importance of requirement engineering. In 1999, the Mars Climate Orbiter disappeared around Mars. The cost was $125 million. Problem caused by misunderstanding between a team in Colorado and one team in California. One team used the metric system while the other team used the English system for a key function. When the requirements are misunderstood, then you cannot complete a task. Okay, what exactly the requirement engineering is? The process to gather the software requirements from client and analyze and document them is known as requirement engineering. The goal of requirement engineering is to develop and maintain a descriptive requirement system requirement specification document.
Importance of software requirement by Fred Brook is the hardest single part of building a software system is deciding what to build, not other part of the work, so cripples the resulting system if done wrong. No other part is difficult to rectify later. The requirement engineering is the most important phase of the software development lifecycle. Therefore, the importance of software engineering is enormous to develop effective software and in reducing software errors at the early stage of the software development. The root cause of project success and failure. The first step in resolving any problem is to understand The root cause. The 1994 Standish Group survey study noted that the three most commonly cited factors that cause project to be challenged: lack of user input, 13% of all the projects; incomplete requirements and specifications, 12% of all the projects; and changing requirements and specifications, 12% of the all projects. Sometimes many customers do not reply to the software requirement engineers, to the developers, and they did not complete their requirements. That is the main reason for failure. Okay, thereafter the data diverges rapidly. Of course, your project could fail because of an unrealistic schedule or time frame, inadequate staffing and resources, inadequate technology skills. The survey shows that at least a third of development projects run into trouble for reasons that are directly related to requirement gathering, requirement documentation, and requirement management. Although the majority of the projects do seem to experience schedule budget overruns, the Standish Group found that 9% of the project in large companies were delivered on time and on budget. 16% of the project in small companies enjoyed a similar success. That leads to an obvious question: what were the primary success factors for those projects? According to the Standish study, the three most important factors were user involvement, 16% of all successful projects; executive management support, 14% of all successful projects; and the third is clear statement of requirement, 12% of all successful projects. Here we have an example, like a customer wants to have a swing. How the customers explain it. This is how the customer explain it, and how the project leader understood it, how the analyst designed it, how the programmer wrote it, how the business consultant described it, how the project was documented, how operations installed, how the customer was billed, how it was supported, and what the customers really want. This is the customer really wants. In all these steps, if the requirements are not clear, then we could not deliver what the customer wants.
Now we can learn about software requirement process. To understand the software requirement process, first we have to keep in mind the traditional software development life cycle. Let's start with it. In traditional software development life cycle, we have different phases like requirement gathering, design, then we have coding on implementation, then we move towards testing, then we move towards deployment and integration, and then we move towards maintenance and updates or maintenance and evolution. Okay, the software engineering process is only concerned with the requirement gathering, which we call requirement engineering. It is basically consists of 4 steps, which are requirement elicitation, requirement analysis, requirement documentation and specification, and requirement validation. Okay, requirement is basically work with the customer on gathering requirements. In requirement analysis, the requirement analysis process this information which we gather from the customer or the stakeholders. Then they process this information to understand it and classify in various categories and relate the customer need to the possible software requirements. In requirement specification, we structure the customer's input and deliver requirements as written document and diagrams. The software requirement specification have different features, like user requirements are expressed in natural language, technical requirements are expressed in structural language which is used inside the organization, and design description should be written in pseudocode, and conditional and mathematical notations for data flow diagrams, etc. Okay, the last is requirement validation. In requirement validation, you will ask your customer to confirm that what you have written is accurate and complete and to correct all the errors. Requirements can be checked against different conditions if they can be particularly implemented, if they are valid as per functionality and domain of software, if there are any ambiguities, and if they are complete or not, and if they can be demonstrated. That's all for today's lecture. In the next lecture, we will discuss all these phases briefly. For more videos, please like, share and subscribe our channel. Thank you.